mind. Fabulous, thank you. So I'll share a little bit about us at PVI. We're an international nonprofit organization based in the US with a mission of creating a safe and connected world through the principles of polyvagal theory. We provide education, training, and resources for a global audience of learners. If you haven't already, we invite you to visit us online at polyvagal.org. I'll also be dropping the link in the chat throughout our session today, particularly to the course information page for you all. My name is Reagan Desatel, and I'm our course coordinator here at the Polyvagal Institute. And online with us today, we also have our media director, Jerry Masiola, and our COO, Susie Cavassa. I'm going to go through just a few housekeeping items before introducing you all to Maddie and Michael. A recording of this event will be sent out within 48 hours after this talk that we're hosting for those who missed it and for those who'd like to go back and rewatch. I know it's going to have a really sweet practice and lots of rich information. So for those who want to come back and revisit it. We'll also be taking questions in the last half of our time together. We ask that you either raise your hand with that raise your hand feature, which you can find in your toolbar in Zoom, or that you use the Q&A feature also in that toolbar. Closed captioning is also available at the bottom of your screen in that same toolbar. And now it's my absolute pleasure to welcome and introduce you all to Maddie Shisko and Michael Allison. Maddie has brought this course to life through a really unique learning experience full of many practices, articles written by her co-instructor Michael, and the chance to connect and co-regulate with one another along this voice journey. For more than 25 years, Maddie has been a leading voice, performance, and speaking coach based in Vancouver, Canada. Maddie is the leading voice coach and consultant for international companies, providing group and individual coaching for those stepping into leadership roles or those wishing to find more ease and joy in their day-to-day communication with their team and clients. She is accompanied today and in this course by Michael Allison, also a course partner with PVI, who's the creator of the Play Zone, who some of you might be familiar with, where he has trained hundreds of coaches. Michael is a globally recognized performance consultant, educator, and author who specializes in applying polyvagal theory to enhance health, resilience, and performance. Thank you both so much for being here today. We're so honored to get to share this time with you, and we're so excited for your course.
Thank you so much, Reagan. Thank you so much, and welcome in everyone. It is such a joy to know that people are so curious. And I'm really encouraged by the amount of people that have signed up to be here in person and to watch the recording later to give you information about this course. I'd love for us actually, I don't know if anyone knew this, but it's World Voice Day tomorrow, but the 16th. Yeah, I mean, some of you might already be in tomorrow, today, depending on where you are in the world, but for me right now, it's still the 15th. But I'd love to hear all your voices. So I think we're going to go to a gallery view and we're going to do this little popcorn hello. So we'll go to gallery and we're going to, if we can see everyone, if you can put everyone in your view. There we are. And we're going to turn our microphones, well, I'd say off, but it's actually on. So you're going to turn your microphones on. And we're just going to take a moment to say hello to as many people as we can see on our screen. And everyone does it at the same time. So if we unmute and all at the same time, we'll go, hello, Suzanne. Hello, Astrid. Hello, Cindy. So we'll just put our microphones. Are we able to do that, Jerry? Can you unmute everyone?
There you go.
Everyone's muted.
So now everyone should have the ability to unmute. Yeah.
I think you have to unmute first.
Awesome. Okay, everyone, go.
Hello.
Oh,
Maddie.
Brenda.
Happy to be
Hello,
here.
Michael.
Elizabeth.
Hello, Reagan.
Manon. Jill.
Stacy, Jessica, Astrid, Deborah,
Yes.
Elizabeth, Isabella,
Hi, Jerry.
Hello, Terry.
Hello, Robert.
Hi, Christina.
Hey.
Hi, Lisa.
Hello, Kim.
Linda.
Hi, Danaka.
Hi,
Rock and roll.
Beautiful.
Now we
hi,
are all
Angela.
met,
Hi,
as
Astrid.
you say,
Hi,
Pat.
Liz.
Wonderful. Okay. Well, welcome in. Oh my goodness, this has been a long time getting to this point. My dear friend Michael and I remember being in the street in Toronto. There was so much construction going on. I was looking after my child who had just had an emergency appendectomy. And for some reason I called Michael and I said, the time is now. We have to write this course now. How do we do it? And so it was kind of born out of that, and it's been a long time in trying to figure out how is the best way to impart this work that we have been curious about for years, the intersection of the polyvagal theory and the voice work, which once you understand the theory and you look and you examine and you discover the voice work, you cannot help but see this symbiotic relationship between the two. And so we decided to create a course, and then we struggled with how to name it, really, because we started with, well, it's for helping professionals, but then it was like, well, not everyone works. What about the people who are at home? What about the parents? What about other people who are in professions that aren't helping? How about the guides? Oh, the people who are guiding, shepherding. Then we thought, well, it could be voice for shepherds, but it wouldn't actually be a terribly popular name. And then I kept digging, what's under that? What is it at its core? And it was communication. We all communicate with everyone in our lives. And how can we use the work that we already know, the voice work, as a portal into regulating our nervous system in order to be regulating out there? How can we know more about this? So we created this course. It is written, it is done, it is in Thinkific, and we are so proud of it, and we're so excited to share it with you. So my intention today is to give you the information that you can't find on the internet right now. And I was inspired by my dear friend, and she's here, she's going to freak out, Suzanne Hepburn. Wave. She doesn't know that I'm going to do this. She has written this beautiful piece on Substack, which I read this morning, and it's called Beauty in the Back Lane. What the unpolished parts of life might be showing us. What the unpolished parts of life might be showing us. And for me to turn up here today, I was polished. I have a storyboard. I have cue cards. I have highlights. And I actually, behind my camera, I have painter's tape stickies with everything on my wall, because I wanted to be polished and I wanted to be perfect, because I'm the expert at the Polyvagal Institute, and that's, you know, how I want to show up. And I went for a walk and I went, no, that is just not me. And if it can be, but if I want to show up and tell you about a course that is aligning our voices with our intention, what is my intention today? And my intention is to connect with you, to let you know that this work is profound and that it has been life-changing and can be life-saving. And the discovery, I don't know everything, you know, it's like I have to use all these sciencey words because that's supposedly what I'm supposed to do, but it's not what I lead with. And as Steve says, it's not what you say, but how you say it that matters most. Then that's how I want to show up today. So I might not have all the big words, and I'm probably the only person in the Institute that calls homeostasis tickety-boo. Then that is who you're going to get to work with. And if you're going to be resting your attention with someone for the next month, I really wanted to make sure that you knew who you were going to be working with. So here we are. And Suzanne also, when she's talking about the beauty in the back lane, she talks about the back lane behind the pretty houses. And that is where she slows down and she finds her breath. And when things become a little more real. And I thought about that in terms of the voice. She also talks about it as being a little hidden, a little softer, and a little more real. And I thought, harsh. That's my voice. Can I be out here and be the, you know, the dog and pony show? Can I be the rallier? Yeah, I can. But where am I most at home? And where is my voice at home? And it is actually in here, just being here in connection before content, as Deb would say. But we will get to content, I assure you. And so here we are. And my dear friend Michael, who has been on this journey ever since we met and did a retreat in Santa Barbara 2 years ago now. I was doing my shtick and he turned to me and he says, "Is that what you do?" And I said, "Yeah." And he goes, "Well, do you know what you're doing?" And I'm like, "No." "Well, yeah, but no." And he said, "Well," and then he talked about the vocal play and the voice work in terms of polyvagal theory. And I went, "Oh my gosh, well, we've got to get that out there. Like, we've got to do this." And so he has been the most incredible champion and the author of 9 bespoke, curated, scientific yet accessible papers that are in this course. And I think I was really annoying because I kept saying, "Okay, so you've got to write this, but then, you know, you've got to go, but why? But why does this work? And how does this work? And what is the why and how in relation to the exercise that I'm doing? And what is the part of the theory that connects?" And so we've really distilled it. We've really titrated it. And you just get the essence in these manageable, beautiful papers that you've written. And it comes out of your journey with me. And it comes out of your journey of using voice in your work. And I wondered if you wanted to speak a little bit about that.
Oh, what a what a journey. And for those of you that don't know, Maddie also helps in my course that I have. And so this is just, it's incredible to now step back and actually witness you really sharing your voice, which is what this is all about, right? And when we first met, that was what I said to you, is like, you know, what you're doing is really the key resource that we can start to tap into. And a lot of us learn a lot. We learn a lot of science. We learn a lot of embodiment practices. We learn and we keep studying. But if Steve, what I love that Steve says is our greatest gift is to become accessible, right? And who are we when we feel safe enough to be who we really are? And the next part of that is, now how do we share that? How do we share that with the world? And that's through voice, that's through face, that's through gesture, that's through body language. And what you're bringing and what you brought into my life was that, yes, that naturally emerges when we are feeling safe, when we are feeling connected, that we can express through our voice and our face that we're here and we're accessible. And at the same time, we can practice using voice and doing vocal play like we did here in Santa Barbara and like we did in Oxford. And through the practice itself, we can develop this range in our voice and in our breath that we can draw on even when we're not quite settled, when we're not quite in our safe place. But we can still draw on it to feed back into finding that authentic, this is me. And so that's what you brought to me. Thank you. And that's what my goal is, to help you bring this to more people. That was my goal all along. And I'm so just grateful for the opportunity to go alongside you on this. It means so much to me. As you know, it does, because we've become very close friends through all of this. And my wife, and it's just beautiful. So how do I use it in my own life? Is it's become a daily practice for me. Using the exercises that you're going to teach in this course have become what I do. And I share that with the people I work with, whether it's an attorney who is now recognizing the sound of his voice when he's defending his client and recognizing, okay, and regrouping, or whether it's a professional athlete who recognizes the sound in what they're making while they're doing their performance and deliberately shifting their sound to shift their physiology. So it's so diverse, but it's become such a staple in my own life and in my own work. Thank you.
Thank you, Michael. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you mentioned the little the exercises that we're going to be doing, we're going to do one now to give you a flavor of what it might be like to come and join us on this vocal journey. So we're going to do one. There are 30 in the course, and we'll be doing more in the live meetups as well, which is really wonderful. So this is going to be a snack because of time. It's just a little snack. So here we go. We're going to be where our feet are. What does that mean to you if I invite you to just be where your feet are? And for a moment, just settle into the chair and feel that gravity supporting you. Maybe the earth, maybe you can hear my cat meowing, maybe the earth coming up to meet your feet or to meet your butt in the chair. And maybe you want to feel your back body, because Suzanne reminded me this morning, and I love her so much, and I'm so thankful that I read your thing this morning, of remembering our back body, because we're anchored in our back, our soft front and our warm heart. And as we place a hand on our heart, using our hand to listen in, what does my body want me to know right now? I'm going to start a little yummy hum, a little yummy hum. And using that hand just to smooth over our heart and feel that yumminess of the vibrational medicine of our hum. And what if we allowed that hum just to connect to the water in our bodies? What if we attach that hum to the water in our bodies and let that vibration just ripple through our bodies, opening our windows and our doors and our pockets and our sockets, and just letting that beautiful hum just connect to the water really gently without effort, connecting to the natural rhythms of the body and to gravity and to our environment. And what if from this hum we just changed the shape of our mouth and let it fall open just a little bit in surprise? Ma, like a surprise of, oh, I'm sounding. Maybe it can become a little bit foreign to the ooh. Maybe we might even become a little skeptical of what is this voice work about. Ooh. But connecting into my sound makes me feel more comfortable and at home to the may. May. Hey, I'm okay. Yeah, I hear the sound of my own voice. May. And back to the yummy hum. And then coming into silence. But to feel the residue of our vibration out here. And feeling that duality of that resonance in here, but out here. Breath in, gentle breath out as we let it go. Beautiful. Thank you so much for playing. I'm going to hand it back to Michael. While we get our slides ready so that we can go into a little bit more detail about what you're going to see in the course.
Well, there was a lot in there, Maddie, again, and it is always amazing to me, even each time we do things like that, that you do feel the immediate shift and change. But as we understand the way the nerves all tie together and their impact on the vagus and the regulation of the heart, it makes complete sense, right? But yet it's still almost magic, but it's not. And in addition to making sound and specific vibrations. You had us doing different things with the articulation of our face and our mouth, which are also changing the feedback back into the vagus and changing what's going on with the braking on the heart. There's a lot. Long exhales, movement, breath, imagination, curiosity. There's so much wrapped in there. And yet it's just a playful practice. And to me, that's the creativity of it all that you also have. And so much of it is rooted in who you are. And my role through this course will be to help frame her genius. And for those of you who are interested, I say that seriously and lightly and seriously. But for those of you who are interested in why things will work, we'll really get into that as well. And that's what the papers in there are really written for those who really want to understand the mechanisms by which her work is working. You'll get that.
Yeah. Thank you, Michael, so much. Actually, we're going to go to the first slide is flow. While our team is getting that ready for us, we were just talking about expansion there, but I really do want to let you know that the one before this, actually, the one before land, it's called flow. If we don't have it, that's okay.
Yeah, sorry, Maddie, there's no slide before this.
Okay, no problem. So there is a flow to each module. We have 4 main modules and a couple of extras, top and tail, but it's really been designed with our nervous systems in mind. And so each of the key modules are designed in exactly the same way. The flow of it starts with the objectives of what we want to achieve in each one. Then we have a theory burst, which are Michael's beautiful papers, followed by between 7 and 9 filmed, I'm going to say really nicely filmed, exercises that take us through between 7 and 9 in each module. Then we will have key concepts, supplementary learning through reading and watching and listening. And then we have a thought for every week. And some of those thoughts are really creative and interactive. And some of them are just like, oh, I'm just going to go for a walk and I'm going to think about that. And they're things that you don't have to tell anybody, but there are also things that we do have a platform in Thinkific where you can actually, in our first module, we land, and I'm going to land right now for a moment and breathe myself. And that's where we really understand our breath holding patterns and the influence our voice has on the autonomic nervous system, how the diaphragmatic movement influences vagal tone, and how breath is really the foundation for our voice. Then we emerge from breath into sound. And as this sound emerges, that's the next slide. Thank you. There it is. The sound emerges. And we explore voice as a resource for nervous system regulation. We'll go quite quickly through these, expand. We've already been talking about the changes, the spontaneous and deliberate changes in voice and in tone and pitch, and how it acts as a natural vagal nerve stimulator and serves as a powerful neural exercise for enhancing autonomic agility. Then we engage, the social engagement system, all of the cranial nerves that are involved. We actually debut a beautiful, beautiful poster by Dr. Liz Charles and Abby Hall, which has been edited specifically for this course. And it shows all of the cranial nerves that form the social engagement system. So blessed to have that. We're so thankful. And then we anchor, and for those of us at the Institute who know and love the word anchor, is we really start to create our own practice. So from each module, you get to pull exercises and knowledge to create your own vocal practice that you can actually film and submit to me, and we can have feedback on that. But it's actually for you. And there's so many variations because there's 30 exercises, and all of the different configurations are endless. One of my favorite things is the gather, and we meet up to integrate and apply what we've been learning and discussing case studies and thoughts and things and conversations I had with my daughter at the dinner table to the presentation in the boardroom. And this is where we get to meet everybody and we share our vocal journey. And if you are thinking about doing it and not sure if you want to, because it might not be your thing, or it might be, I want to share this with you, which I have kept with me for so long. Come to the Edge by Guillaume Apollinaire. Come to the edge. We might fall. Come to the edge. It's too high. Come to the edge. And they came. He pushed them. And they flew. You never know. So we would love to welcome some questions. I'm sorry that it went a little bit longer than expected. But please, if there's any questions, Reagan, let us know.
Yeah, absolutely. So feel free to raise your hand or put them in the Q&A feature. We'll have the time to take a couple questions. And Maddie, I have a question for you. So I know that this is just rooted in and overflowing in these practices and so application based. How are we able to, taking the course, are we then able to take these practices and teach them ourselves while we take this? Could you speak to that a little bit?
100%. They're intentionally simple and they are snack size. And once you've done them a few times yourself, you're going to be absolutely able to give them and share them with loved ones and colleagues. They're not rooted so much in scientific jargon or heaviness. It's no, they're intentionally made for you, for yourself, and to share with others. Thank you for that great question, Reagan.
Of course, no, thank you. The practices are wonderful. We've gotten to see a few of them trickling in on social media for the course. I'm excited to get to see all of them. Any other, here, I see one question coming in. We'll be able to take that and then I'll put a link to where you'll be able to continue asking your questions. What are your thoughts about those who are shut down and have trouble vocalizing?
There are so many doors into the same room, and I think it's really prudent to slow down and be with, and to understand the person that you're with. And I think there's different routes into that. There could be anatomical, physiological, psychological, emotional, and it's a matter of titration of the slowness of understanding, slowing down, being with, meeting where they are, and gradually, really, really gradually, just offering, and even just taking the words away and going back to sound could be a really great place to start. But that's a much longer and more complex explanation. But that is the idea surrounding, the principle surrounding is titrating, slowing down, being with, attuning is where I would start.
Can I add to that too? And just that I think it's a beautiful and natural way. And it might be just sounding with yourself, right? Like I think it's really a natural response in shutdown or even any type of pattern of protection to not really trust that it's safe to share your voice, even with yourself. And I think what Maddie brings is such a container of safety that you can do that. And when you start to share your own voice and even just sound with yourself, it's really quite powerful. And it might be a way to lift you up out of that abyss.
Thank you so much. I know that we are at our time, so I want to be mindful of time. I see a question from Cindy in our Q&A. Concerned I cannot attend at least one live. Is that okay? I would say that the live sessions are recorded. All of the material will be on Thinkific, and the recordings will have up within 48 hours after that live session. So yes, absolutely, that is okay. I know that there might be lingering questions. This time together today is so short, but sweet. Any lingering questions, feel free to email them to info@polyvagal.org. We'd be happy to answer more questions. I've shared the course schedule if you're interested in learning more in the chat, as well as the course registration page if you're interested in learning more. But thank you so much. Thank you, Maddie. Thank you, Michael. And thank you all so much for sharing this time together.
Thank you so much. Be well. Bye.